Hello, hello, hello. We are live again. Let me bring Eric up.
Hey there.
Hi.
We want to bring on our guest right away. There she is.
Hi!
I'm seeing like your fancy voiceover world
Yes,
thing.
this is our
Yes,
our our
amazing.
sound booth. Yeah.
Oh, that's a full booth
It's a
situation.
whisper room. Yeah. Colin recorded an album and I record audiobooks and we our pandemic pivots and we can also hide in here.
Yeah, right.
Right?
Oh, it's so good with a baby. Yes, right.
We're like, ooh, sorry, can't do it. Close the door, bye. Yeah. I think Colin, this is sort of his his music space where he just kind of comes to like noodle around and stuff. So I think this is
Totally.
sort of it
Yeah.
works for, mental health as well.
We would just love to chat a little bit about the recent film production you did of the musical Breathe, and just how what that was, putting that together during a pandemic, and perhaps how that was different than doing a live show, doing a streamed or kind of quasi kind of hybrid piece.
It's always so funny putting musical stuff on video because like just naturally the two mediums are so different. You know what I mean? Like on stage you're bigger, you're trying to reach more people who are in your immediate view, and TV just picks up everything. And so it's always like a strange thing to find the balance between like, am I going to look like a crazy person on TV when this films because I'm using my theater faces, but because we've had to put some stuff on tape in terms of like musical theater auditions. It's just so like, but they did such a great job of like really pointing us all in the right direction. And we did it in a theater, which was the most wonderful part. It was an empty theater, but we were in a theater on a stage. And it was kind of a long time in the making. Jodi and Tim had done a couple workshops and whatnot of it throughout, like virtual, some in person. And this was the last one, was the first one that we were able to take part in because we had a baby. But it was really so wonderful. It's just crazy. It was crazy watching it because it came out so beautifully. So I cried so much. But like we didn't see any of the other actors while we were there. We didn't see any of the other creatives. You know what I mean? We just saw like
Just your
Jeff
chapter,
Calhoun and
basically.
Laura
Yeah.
Matara, who was our director, and Tim and Jodi. She was there on Zoom, but like there was we didn't see any. The first thing that we saw of them was when we actually when it was released and came out, and it was just it's such a beautiful thing to be a part of because you're part of it even though you've never actually we were never in the same room.
If people want to watch it, what can they do to access it? Do you have that information at your fingertips?
Yes, I believe Breathe on Stage is their Twitter and I believe Instagram
Yeah.
accounts. And you can find all the links there and whatnot. And also a lot of fun behind the scenes pictures and videos and some clips from the show. And I think it's streaming for another maybe 3-4 weeks. It does have like an end date. So I would say check soon if you're really interested. But it's just, yeah, Breathe on Stage, I believe that's just their handle.
And there is in Broadway Records released the album, right? So there was
Yes,
an album.
yes, yes,
Awesome.
yes. There is an album. Yep.
Great.
Which is like, all the songs proper, but because so many of the vignettes were sort of not sung through, but you know what I mean? There's much more music actually in the live version than just like the recording. So it's both,
Okay.
it's kind of two different sort of experiences, but both really so well done.
So you mentioned that recording audiobooks has been one of your pandemic pivots.
Yeah.
And can you share a little bit more about the challenges or the surprises associated with going into the whisper room and making an entire book manifest through only your voice?
It's so cool because I'm a voracious reader. I've always been a voracious reader.
Oh, yeah.
And so this was I did my first one in January of 2020, so before everything hit. And I did it in a studio, like you're supposed to normally. And I loved it so much. I found it so calming to sit and read out loud. And like you have a director there who's there sort of, and they're there to stop you if you if something doesn't quite come across clear. So you're really working together. But like they're so much of the time you just sort of, I found myself reading, I'd be like, oh my gosh, like I just read like 3 pages straight. It's like you get in the zone. And then the second one I did from home. It was Jodi Picoult's book, who wrote the book for Breathe. And that was like, oh my gosh, that was one of the most incredible things I've ever done, because I've been reading her books since I was age appropriate for them, you know, or probably not. Um, so I've been reading her stuff for 20 plus years. And so when she asked me to do it, I was like, yes. And then I read it, and I think I had to do every accent under the sun. And it's this beautiful story. It's called The Book of Two Ways, but it's centered around, like, you know, ancient Egyptian history and stuff. And so, like, the words and the names and the things I learned.
Yeah.
And so that was like but I had you work remotely with a director from home. And so I had someone on Zoom, you know what I mean? We were really getting through it together, but it's just been such a great thing for me as someone who loves to read, to be able to, you know, put my voice into it. And it's still acting, because you still have to find the different characters, you know? I mean, I try not to go so far that, you know, it's like stereotypical, but, like, you know, it's like I read the voices of everybody. I read the voices of men. I read the voices of children. I read the voices of, you know, every single character. And so it's a really cool challenge to read through it and be like, okay, how do I make sure that this one is different than this one? So yeah, it's been amazing.
We have a question in the chat, which
Yeah.
is Ann James 8002 asks, do you prefer Broadway or TV shows?
Oh goodness. I mean, right now, Broadway, because it's been so long. I mean, you know, there's really truly nothing like a live theatrical production. The energy in it and the excitement and the adrenaline, even if it's one you've been doing for 2 years, you know, it's still so exciting. But I also, I do love TV. I love the sort of the challenge of it. You know, theater is much more presentational, you know, that's sort of what it is. It's much more storytelling with your whole body. And TV is like, there's times that I'm like, I don't ever talk this soft in real life. Why are we talking this soft? It's just that is because, you know, the mics and the cameras, they literally pick up everything. So I mean, I have to say, I think the theater is always going to remain my first love, but, like, you know, I love working with the people that I've gotten to work with in TV and film. And so I feel, that's my dog. I feel very fortunate to have been able to go back and forth between the two.
One of the demographics of our students at this empty space are people who might start off as performers and not realize that their artistic destiny exists on more platforms than just theater performance. And we work with a lot of actors who are slowly, but really steadily becoming songwriters. And sometimes you can just tell by the way a person speaks or their outlook on the world that they have a writer inside them. And I've really always felt that way about you. And when you had your blog, which for our viewers was called literally Patti Murin, I was a voracious reader of it and was really convinced that you were quite a wonderful writer. Can you speak about how you may or may not consider yourself a writer, and what artistic writing opportunities might await you in the future?
It's like every day I'm like, I really have to go back to that. I really have to go back to that, because I really did enjoy it. The hardest thing about writing is sitting down and doing it. I mean, you guys know, you know what I mean? It's like you find every reason under the sun, even if you have the best idea in the world. It's like, you're just like, I don't know. And I really do have to find the time to, like, sit down for, you know, a half an hour every day and just sort of like, blah. I have so many notes in my notes thing app on my phone with, like, blog ideas and all that stuff. But yeah, you know, I that is something I really want to do. I'm in the midst of developing a television show, actually, that I would be writing, or, you know, one of the writers on. And so that's, like, really exciting. That was like soon you're like, I just wrote a pilot script, and it's like, what is happening? And I'd love to write a book one day. You know, I'm so, like, especially after the whole motherhood experience, you know, you guys know I'm very real. I don't really know how to tell a lie. I'm not really shy about telling the reality of all situations, whether it's like being a woman or being, you know, a mom or being a performer, you know, having depression and anxiety and stuff. And so I would really love to write a book at some point about, you know, just, you know, essays and just kind of like my realistic sort of brand of humor. Also, I just realized that literally Patti Murin is like a pun. It has like literal. I didn't.
That's right. When you're a writer, sometimes you don't even know the tricks that you are doing.
Well, and now I'm like, oh my God, I'm a genius. Like, I just meant, like, it's literally me. Like, everyone says literally this, but I didn't mean like literal, like, cause literal, like, get it? Cause, okay, I got it.
Well, clearly we're now all awaiting your TV series and your book, but most significantly, I think we're just waiting to be able to see you on stage again, and we're all really excited about the turning of the corner that's happening in all of our lives.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's, you know, it's so funny because I'm not in a show that's coming back. And so I'm not going to be on that first wave of actors that get to go back to, back to being on the stage. We've gotten used to a slower lifestyle. And as actors, we don't really have that. I mean, I keep saying actors, people in this entire industry, writers, crew, stage managers, musicians, you're always hustling and you're always like, oh, I got to put this on tape. I got to do this. I got to do this. And I know a lot of us have really sort of been able to slow down and like kind of really pay attention to the really truly important things, like family and friends and ourselves, being able to pay more attention to keeping ourselves healthy. And so there is a little bit of anxiety about that coming back, and anxiety and wanting to make sure that we kind of hold on to the stuff that we found. That's something I'm really sort of interested in exploring in the next few months as it sort of builds up to the big Broadway comeback, is how everyone's sort of feeling about it, like realistic feelings. And because I think it's all valid. And I think that the notion that everyone should just be thrilled to pieces that they're coming back, you know what I mean? It's just, I don't think that's a reality, and I think that's okay. And so yeah. I'm curious to sort of like talk to some people and just kind of see where everyone's at. And, I mean, overall, obviously it's an incredible thing, but it is definitely like we ground to a halt, and then, and now we're like, okay, time to go back. It's just, it's an interesting position.
What theater do you want to be in on their first day back?
Oh God, well, Hadestown. I mean, like that's just, I did get to see it before, everything shut down, but, oh gosh, it's just like, it's, and also, and Lion King, I think, because, Disney and whatnot, and the Circle of Life is like perhaps the most perfect song that's ever been written. And every time I hear it, I literally get choked up. Like no other song does that to me. And so I want to be there to, support my Disney family and, just like watch that epic, show come to life again. I just got chills.
I know. Well, we so much love, so much. Patti's the best. Patti rocks. So much love. We don't want to keep you, but thank you so much for hanging.
Of course, you guys are awesome.
For everybody on board here, this empty space, we are open for enrollment for our Filling the Page songwriting workshop that starts June 14th. We would love to see you there. Patti, thank you. And we ought to hang soon. We're sort of neighbors now.
I know.
So
we're like,
come down.
Yeah, you do. We're like 25-ish minutes away. Yes. Yeah, okay. Absolutely. Please text me.
For sure. Okay. Thank you, Patti.
Bye, guys.
Thanks so much, Patti.
Thank you.
And that does it for our third episode of our series where we speak to multifaceted artists, not individuals who do one thing, but artists who do everything. And if you're looking to become an artist who does more than one thing, definitely head to our website, www.thisemptyspace.com, and look at our class, Filling the Page, which is all about how people who don't realize they're writers can become songwriters. Thanks so much, gang. Bye.